Right, formally welcome once again to the monthly series of the Rail Enthusiast Society talk. For those who may have joined in recently, this is a talk that we hold on the third Sunday of every month at 11 hours IST, which translates to 5:30 hours GMT. In this eighth talk, we have with us today Vikas Singh, a very ardent rail enthusiast, a man of many hobbies, one of which is trains, the other two being tea and Tintin, and then a few others. He's also a fantastic stamp collector. But we will stay today with his love for trains, and very specifically a creation that he has put together. Vikas has actually identified and photographed the 303 surviving steam locomotives in India, wherever they may be in this country. No mean feat. This is the first time that something like this has ever been done. So let me not get between you and Vikas, the author of that fantastic book, Black Beauties, the Steam Survivors of India, a book that is actually available on pre-order, but more details about that after the talk. Vikas, I hand over to you for the eighth RES monthly talk of the series.
Yeah, thanks, man.
A quick request to everyone to please hit the mute buttons if not already done so.
Okay. So the title of the talk is The Story of Steam Survivors. As Mayank has said that, we are going to talk about the surviving steam locomotives of India. Sometime in the late 60s, Indian Railways decided to gradually eliminate steam locomotives. I think it was in the year 1964, but I don't have evidence for the exact year. The decisions were taken from a host of freight, environmental, speed, and maintenance considerations. The last broad gauge steam locomotive was built by Chittaranjan Locomotive Works in June 1970. It was a WG class loco called Antim Sitara. It was numbered 10560. The last WP class broad gauge loco had been built at the Chittaranjan Locomotive Works in 1967. Now, this is the 1970 built WG class broad gauge loco, Antim Sitara. It is now at the Heritage Park at Chittaranjan. Now, Telco, Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company had been building the MG class locos, the YP and the YG. They built the last YP class MG loco 2870 in 1970 and the last YG class MG loco 3573 in 1972. Now, sadly, we have lost both of them to scrap. The last narrow gauge steam loco built in India was the ZB class number 122 in 1959 at the Chittaranjan Locomotive Works. This also does not exist anymore. In the beginning of 1990s, there were still over 2,500 steam locomotives working, of which 1,027 were broad gauge, 1,398 meter gauge, and 99 narrow gauge. The decline of the steam locomotives accelerated after that. In 1992-93, there were just 1,725 steam locos in service, 911 in 1993-94, 358 in 1994-95, and just 209 in 1995-96. The broad gauge steam era finally came to an end when WL 15,005 hauled the last broad gauge steam train between Firozpur and Jalandhar on 16th December 1995. Now, this loco has now been revived and is at the Rewari Steam Loco Center. It's been called now Sher-e-Punjab. The regular mainline narrow gauge steam era came to an end in August 1996 when a ZP2 hauled the last steam service on the Pulgaon-Arvi section. Now, this is that loco, ZP2, built by Nippon Sharyo Seizo Casual Company Limited in Japan. Now, it was supposed to be sent to the proposed railway museum at Lonavala, but it is still lying on a railway siding at the Pulgaon station. The meter gauge operations continued for some more time. In the mid-1990s, Mahu, Wankaner, and Jetalsar were the last surviving meter gauge steam loco sheds. However, by the end of 1999, meter gauge steam services had completely stopped, giving way to the diesel locos. In 1996-97, there were only 75 steam locomotives in service. Of this, the Central Railway had 3, North Frontier Railway 15, mostly on the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, Southern Railway 8, mostly on the Nilgiri Mountain Railway, and Western Railway 49. Now, over time, most of these locomotives were cut up and sold as scrap. Not even the builder plates were preserved. Now, earlier, when the National Rail Museum was established in New Delhi in 1977, some of the steam locomotives had been moved there, and 33 steam locomotives survived the hammer. This is a view of the National Rail Museum. In 1979, a railway museum was established in Mysore, and 4 steam locomotives survived the hammer. This is a more recent view of the Mysore Rail Museum. Steam preservation got a major flip during the 150th year celebrations of the Indian Railways in 2002. That year, 2 new rail museums were set up at Nagpur and Chennai. The Rewari Steam Loco Center was rehabilitated in the same year for maintenance of the working steam locos. These are 2 narrow gauge coaches converted into a restaurant on a turntable at the Nagpur Railway Museum. This is a 1895 built Paula plowing machine at the Rail Museum, which is in the Integral Coach Factory at the Perambur, Chennai. A view of the Rewari Steam Loco Center. In 2006, a rail museum was set up in Howrah. Since then, a number of smaller regional rail museums have been set up at various locations, including Tinsukia, Gorakhpur, Hubballi, Daboi, and Vadodara. Now, steam locomotives have been preserved at some of these museums. In fact, the first working meter gauge loco of the country survives today at the Gorakhpur Regional Rail Museum. This is a Garrett steam operated road roller at the Howrah Rail Museum. Now, in 1999, when Maho steam shed closed regular steam operations, there were 5 YPs homed there. Now, they were photographed by me in 2006. The condition then was very poor. However, 4 of them were later rehabilitated and plinth. The YP 4028 is at the Indore railway station. YP 2323 is at the Dahod railway station. YP 2622 at the Ratlam railway station. And YP 2803 at the Varanasi railway station. The whereabouts of the 5th loco, YP 2102, remains unknown. Now, this is a 1954 built YG class MG loco. It was built by Nippon Sharyo Shizo Casual Company Limited of Japan, number 4028. Now, this was photographed at the Mahu loco shed in 2006. This is now plinth outside the Indore railway station. This is that loco which is now been plinth outside the Indore railway station. Now, when the Wankaner steam shed closed down, 4 YPs and 1 YG were homed there. They were photographed by me in 2010. The condition of the locos were very poor. However, 4 of them have now been rehabilitated and plinth. YG 4129 at the Itawa Lion Safari Park, YP 2211 at the Bhuj railway station, YP 2825 at the Ambala Cant railway station, and YP 2813 at the Wankaner railway station. YP2150 is still in the old steam shed in a very rundown condition. This is a Telco built 1968 YP class MG loco 2825. It was photographed at the Wankaner steam shed in 2010. Now it is plinth outside the Ambala railway station. This is the loco which is now outside the Ambala railway station. Now, when steam operations closed, several locomotives were stabled at the Dehri railway siding. In 2009, YG4367 and YG4119 were photographed there. These two locos have now been plinth at the Lumding and Guwahati railway stations. These are the steam locos at the Dehri railway siding, 2009. This is a Telco 1959 built YG class loco 4091. This is now plinth outside the railway station Lumding. Now, frequently the color scheme of the loco's plinth is changed as per the whims and fancies of the staff. Now, I'd share two examples. For a long time, the PL class NG loco outside the Bangalore railway station was painted in green, but it was later repainted in maroon. The CS class loco initially plinth at the Jamalpur workshop was in a black livery. However, when it was moved to the Jamalpur Gymkhana, it was repainted in a colorful livery. In 2021, it was again repainted, this time in the original livery of black and green. Now, this is a 1900 built PL class narrow gauge locomotive, Hunslet Railway Engine Company, Leeds. This was the color outside when it was plinth outside the Bangalore railway station in 2008, green. It's now been painted in a maroon color, and this is the picture from 2019. The locations of the locomotives also changed. For example, WG10253 was initially at the Zonal Training Center, Bhusawal, before being moved to the Rewari Steam Loco Center for restoration. Similarly, WP72002 has been moved from Bhusawal Loco Shed to the Rewari Steam Loco Center for restoration. Now, this is the 1964 built WG class loco 10253. It's at the Zonal Training School, Bhusawal. This has now been moved to Rewari for a possible case of restoration. Now, compared to the mainline steam locomotives, the industrial locomotives fared worse. Ramkrishna Dalmia established the Dalmia Nagar in the year 1932 as an industrial town in Bihar. Now, over time, the industrial town had several factories manufacturing cement, sugar, paper, chemicals, and vegetable oils spread over 219 acres, all under the banner of Rohtas Industries. In fact, the railway station of Dehri on Son was basically to supply, regular transport and goods to this very city. And it was at the height of its working, it employed more than 16,000 people. 7 broad gauge and 3 narrow gauge steam locomotives once worked there. This is a picture by Mike Pope. This is the Rohtas Industry Limited loco number 5 working at the Rohtas Industries in 1980. This is again a picture by Mick Pope, RIL 6 working at the Rohtas Industries taken in 1980. However, by the late 1980s, the factories started suffering from financial crunch and labor unrest. By 1990, driven by financial duress and poor law and order situation, all the factories had closed down. At that point, more than 23,000 people lost their job there. In 2018, the factory scraps were sold off. Now, while the 3 narrow gauge locos were possibly vandalized and sold off as scrap, 6 broad gauge loco survived. Loco numbers RIL 3, original builder number 11737, RIL 4, original builder number 12796, RIL 5 and RIL 6 have now been plinth at Danapur, Hajipur, Samastipur and Muzaffarpur railway stations respectively. RIL 2 and RIL 1 have been revived and steamed at the Heritage Transport Museum, Gurgaon district. The whereabouts of the 7th loco, RIL 7, original builder number 3103, is not known. Now, this is the 1957 built RIL class broad gauge loco built by Jagenthal, Germany. Original number 12797. This was photographed in 2009 at the Rohtas Industries. It is now plinth outside the Samastipur railway station. So this is, you can see the loco is now outside the railway station at Samastipur. This is the 1953 built RIL class broad gauge loco number 11736. This has now been revived at the Heritage Transport Museum, Gurgaon. The Lohat sugar mill in Bihar was incorporated in 1914 as the Darbhanga Sugar Company Limited under the ownership of the Maharaja of Darbhanga, and it was run by managing agents Octavius Steele. It started regular production in 1915. In 1930, the then Darbhanga ruler Maharaja Rajeshwar Singh Bahadur purchased 1887 built FMA class meter gauge loco number 253. The loco was used to move raw materials to the factory and finished product to different locations, and was also interestingly used to transport people over short distance. Over time, with trucks taking over, the locomotive was limited to plying within the sugar mill campus and remained operational till 1996 when the mill closed down. In 2018, when the government took over, the loco was rehabilitated and plinth outside the Darbhanga railway station. So this is the 1887 built FMA class meter gauge loco number 253 ex Lohat sugar mill. It is now plinth outside the railway station in Darbhanga. The second mill was set up at Sakri by the Maharaja. It was incorporated in 1933 as the Darbhanga Sugar Company Limited. The 2-foot narrow gauge line, cane haulage line, ran from the factory 13 kilometers to a place called Benipur. There were 6 narrow gauge locomotives. By the end of 1980s, these were largely disused and replaced by meter gauge. A lone meter gauge loco was purchased to run the line. In 1997, Bihar Sugar Development Corporation took over the SIC factory, but could not successfully run it for a long time, closing it down in 1997. Now, in 2007, when I visited the mill, all the 7 locomotives were there, but they were in very bad condition. Now, this is the condition of the Sakri sugar mill locos. Saraiya sugar mill was started in 1919. It was the first sugar mill in India to be completely mechanized. To facilitate transport of machinery, meter gauge tracks were laid. For movement of cane to the factory, narrow gauge track was laid up to a distance of 30 kilometers from the factory, and 4 cane purchase sidings were established at Banchwada, Bharangna, Karmara and Hamidpura. The most famous of the steam locomotives here, Tweed, was purchased by the owner Surinder Singh from Bengal Nagpur Railway. The mill, as with most sugar mills in the country, started facing financial woes in 2003-04. Now, when I visited the factory in 2008, all the 5 locos were in very bad shape. They were covered with wild bushes. The original builder plate of Tweed was missing. A replica of the original adorned the sitting room of the present day owner. Though it was right in the middle of the cane season, the mill was not operational. The mill owed money to the government and was in bad financial condition. The wagons had been sold off and tenders had been floated for the sale of the rails. This was the condition of the Tweed, the 1873 built loco. The Riga sugar mill was set up in 1933 by the Belsun Sugar and Industries Limited under British management and later taken over by the Dhanukas in 1950. This is one of those only mills in Bihar which has been under continuous production. The narrow gauge steam loco used to haul sugar cane from the main line of the Riga railway station to the mill. The loco was in operation till 2006, giving way to tractors for transport. When I visited this mill in 2007, the steam loco had stopped working. They had a diesel loco to take over the operations. Now, this loco has now been sent to Rewari for revival. This is the 1930 built narrow gauge loco, Hudswell Clark and Company, original builder number 1644 at the Riga Sugar Mill, Sitamarhi. It has now been sent for revival to the Rewari Steam Loco Center. The Hatua Sugar Mill was incorporated by SKG Sugar Limited in 1933. The mill had a meter gauge connection to the Bengal and Northwestern Railway line, which was a Bachwara Bahaya branch line. The mill also had a couple of narrow gauge locomotives working. In the early 1980s, the mill started facing financial difficulties and was taken over by the Bihar State Sugar Development Corporation. However, the mill could not be successfully run for a long time and it closed down in 1996. A narrow gauge loco from the mill has now been moved and plinth outside the office of DRM Hajipur. This is the 1925 built narrow gauge loco, Onsten and Koppel, Berlin, original builder number 1127, ex Hatua Sugar Mill. It is now plinth outside the DRM office, Hajipur. Now, there have been attempts in recent years to successfully revive some of these preserved locomotives. In 1997, Fairy Queen, then at the National Rail Museum, was fully restored and returned to commercial services on 18th July 1997. It was certified by the Guinness Book of Records in 1998 as the world's oldest steam locomotive in regular operation. The locomotive used to haul the Delhi Alwa Steam Safari in season. It is now maintained at the Rewari Steam Loco Center and still hauls steam specials on special occasions. This is the 1855 built G-class broad gauge loco. It was built by Kinston, Hewitson and Thomson Leeds, number 22, now at the Rewari Steam Loco Center. In 2003, Golden Rock Workshop, Tiruchi started building steam locomotives. The first oil-fired steam loco, Himanand, for the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway was rolled out in 2004. In 2010, the workshop started building oil-fired steam locomotives for Nilgiri Mountain Railway. Between 2011 and 2014, 6 oil-fired locomotives for NMR were built. In 2020, a coal-fired steam locomotive for NMR was also rolled out. This is the B-class narrow gauge locomotive, Himanand, built at the Golden Rock Workshop, Trichy, number 1002. This was photographed at the Siliguri Loco Shed in 2011. They also, one of the problem with the DHR is, depending on the whims and fancy of whoever is in charge there, they keep changing the name of the locos also. In 2011, at the Golden Rock Workshop, Trichy, they built a X-class MG loco. It was number 37396. In 2010, Express from the Rail Museum, Howrah, was restored by the Perambur Workshop, Chennai. It now works on special occasions. This is Express in steam. In 2006, a Garrett locomotive, the heaviest to have ever worked on Indian Railways, was revived at Kharagpur Workshop for a ceremonial run between Shalimar and Mecheda. It was supposed to haul regular steam charters, but the plan did not take off and it was sent back to the Kharagpur Workshop. In 2018, it was again revived for a trial run between Kharagpur and Midnapur. This is the Garrett 38811 in steam, photographed in 2006. In 2019, on the occasion of the annual conference of the Indian Steam Railway Society, Ramgoti from the National Rail Museum was revived at the Shapur Basti diesel shed in Delhi. This is the restored Ramgoti 2019. A ZB66 locomotive from Kangra Valley Railway has also been revived by Amritsar Workshop. It is now at the Pathankot shed. However, details are still sketchy about its capacity to haul charters or do a regular service. This is the ZB66 at Pathankot. There have also been a curious case of locomotives being revived and then later plinth. In 2006, MAWD class 1798 was revived at the Siliguri shed. On the occasion of 125 years of Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, a unique run on 3 gauges was organized at Siliguri Junction Station on 23rd August 2007. Now, this station has the unique distinction of being the only station in the world that has 3 gauges, broad, meter, and the narrow. The meter gauge train hauled by MAWD 1798 ran from Siliguri to Bagdogra. Strangely, this locomotive has now been plinth outside the new Jalpaiguri railway station. Now, this is that event. Steam on 3 gauges. You have the narrow gauge Loco 802, the broad gauge WP 7161, and the meter gauge MAWT 1798 participating in the steam run. This is a picture of the MAWD which ran from Siliguri to Bagdogra. Now, this 1948 built MAWD class locomotive built at the Baldwin Locomotive Works, Philadelphia, which took part in the steam on 3 gauges, is now plinth outside the railway station at the new Jalpaiguri. So, I'll quickly talk about the book, which is on the surviving steam locomotives of India. It's called The Black Beauties. Now, as Mayank had said, the book has details for 303 steam survivors at 120 locations. Now, from where I stay in Indirapuram, Ghaziabad, the westernmost location of a loco is at Bhuj, which is 1,170 kilometers. The easternmost locomotive is at Tinsukia, which is 2,390 kilometers. The southernmost locomotive is at Coimbatore, which is 2,490 kilometers. And the northernmost locomotive is at Jodhpur, 640 kilometers. Now, this will give you an idea about, the length and breadth of the country across which this 303 locomotives are spread. Now, these locomotives have been photographed and documented over a period of 16 years because of the distances involved and the need for government permissions at certain locations. Now, some of the sites were visited more than thrice to capture the locos in the latest rivalry. Of these 303 locos, 18 are in private hands, 24 are under ownership of different non-Indian Railway government agencies, and the remaining 261 locos are under Indian Railways. 42 steam locomotives are in working condition, formed mostly at the Rewari Steam Loco Center and the Siliguri shed. 4 locomotives are currently under restoration. This is one of all the working locos on the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, number 792, DHR 39. This is a cover of the book. Now, as Mayank had said, we only have intent to publish 400 numbered copies of this collector's edition. The book is priced at 600 rupees, but to pre-order your book in India at a discounted price of rupees 500, there is 100 rupee postage, etc. Extra. This is the link. We would also be posting the link on the comment section. Overseas customers can send a mail at railenthusiast2015@gmail.com because we have to work out on the postage for sending it abroad because the cost is very high on the postage. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to talk about. The surviving locals of Indian Railways. Yeah, Mayank. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, Vikas. What a work. I mean, this is visits of 2000, of 2007. We are looking at 15, 16 or more years of rail fanning converted into that one book, which I think every rail enthusiast or every steam enthusiast who has any interest in India has always wanted. The book that everyone wanted, but was actually never there. So thank you so much, Vikas. Um, what we would now encourage is questions from the audience. There are two ways of doing this. It can either be written into the chat, or you could just kind of raise your hand using that reactions icon, and we could reach out to you and invite you to ask the question. So we are okay with either model, and please help me with this if okay. Vijay seems to have a question. So he says an enthusiast cheer for Vikas. I would go further and say 3 cheers for Vikas, but we'll hold that for the end of the session. So we are now open to questions, and please feel free to ask them.
I have raised the hand.
Okay, Joydeep, shoot.
Vikas, is this 1001 Himanand?
Yeah.
Is it is it still working on this Ghum pot?
No, I don't think so. No.
I have not seen it.
Yeah.
And one thing very strange, you know, this 802 locomotive number, which was operating on these 3 gauges that you showed, it had a very fantastic name, and that is why it made it my favorite loco on DHR. It had a name called Mountaineer, which was so apt, and it has been highlighted many times in this book by Terry Martin. But now it seems they have named it Whistling Queen.
Yes.
So bhi marzi maya wo kar diya.
Yeah, that is why I was saying, you know, that 3
part.
problems. You know, they changed the name, they changed the livery, which all depends on the whims and fancies of, you know, whoever is in charge.
Yeah, that's the sad part actually. But excellent.
Mr. Raghunandan seems to have an interesting question. So rather than reading out the question, can I just invite you, sir, to ask the question directly?
He says his mic doesn't work.
Okay.
I'll read his question.
Okay. In that case, I'll ask the question. So Vikas, Mr. Raghunandan says, of the 303 locomotives surviving, how many of them are of unique categories? In other words, how many unique classes of locomotives are represented?
I will have to check from the database, but you know, broadly I can say there would be around 64 unique classes, is what I last remember. But I would have to relook at the entire sheet. But broadly 64 unique classes, 64 to 70 unique classes would be there.
Absolutely fantastic. So is there, okay, 1 second. So is there a follow-up on that one, Raghu sir? No, okay. So there's another question here from Warren Miller. He says, you mentioned the 3 gauges at Siliguri Junction. Another example is at La Tour de Carol in France, which has meter standard and 5 feet 3 inch from Spain. So it seems, Vikas, there are now 2 stations over here.
Yeah. La Tour de Carol, I have been there. I've experienced the 3 gauges.
Okay.
So perfect. So now we have 2 stations with 3 gauges.
Yeah.
And one of the advantages of having rail enthusiasts as your audience is all of us can keep learning.
Yes.
Move along.
Correct.
Thank you, Warren, for that one. In fact, while we are on the topic of making corrections, I think Atulya Sinha had posted that.
Yeah, it is the GM's office.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a DRM's office, it's a GM office. So that is an interesting thing to point out. And thank you very much for that as well. Okay. David Churchill says that 1001 is now numbered 01 and is operational on the DHR.
I want to tell them something. Hello.
Please, sir. Please go right ahead, Mr. Vianan.
The 3 locomotives built for the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway were named Himrathi and Him Anand and Him Ratan. Himrathi was named after the then member mechanical Sri Dasarathi. The Him Anand was named after me, and the Him Ratan was named after late Sri R.R. Bhandari.
Oh, very nice.
Fantastic.
Oh, that is actually interesting.
Thank you.
That's very nice.
So Raghu seems to have a follow-up which says, I would imagine that the YP, YG and the B class locos are the most numerous of the survivors.
Yes. That's true.
So accurate and correct over there. Vikas, have we actually posted the links?
No.
Are there any more questions from the talk?
Vikas, how many original X class locos are working? Original X class, not the
Two.
Both are coal fired, right?
Yeah,
obviously.
both are coal fired. Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
We are still open to a few more questions and comments before we move on to another small section of the conference. Of today.
Vikas, I wonder whether you covered the locomotives at Tipong Colliery.
Yeah, I have in the book. Yes.
You have, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Last time I was there, they had two former DHRB class there and a little industrial loco called David. And fairly nearby at the Coal Museum at Margarita.
Yes.
There were several small industrial ones there as well.
So the book covers all the three. In fact, there is one at the Digboi Oil Museum. Then one is like there are three at the Margarita Coal Museum, and of course the Tipong Colliery. And the David has been, painted, and it looks very nice now. The builder plate and all, they have restored it almost in the pristine level, so it looks very nice.
Yeah. Do you happen to know whether the railway at Tipong Colliery is still working or not?
It is still working. Yes,
it is still working.
Yeah.
All right.
And there is a tour operator in Tejpur who now organizes trips to the Kaziranga Sanctuary as well as to the Tipong Colliery.
All right. Yeah. I might contact you on that. We'd love to get a couple of photos of the of one or two of the B class which are still there. Yeah, they're great. Thank you.
To the best of my knowledge, the steam locomotives at Tipong are not working anymore. They're doing their work with the sand diesel. The locos are still there, but I don't think the steam ones are working. The work is all done by a diesel.
The David is still working, sir. It was steamed up around before the Corona crisis, because there was a group of tourists there and they had steamed up the David there.
So they are steaming it up for tourists, but I don't think it is doing actual work.
Okay.
So I spot another question. Mr. Raghunandan is really out there for the information. So the next question that he asks is, how many locos survive which have been built prior to 1880? Mr. Raghunandan says that my count was 7, but that was a rough check years back. Vikas, a figure from the top of your head or a more informed remark on that one?
No, I have all the dates. It's there in an Excel sheet, so I'll have to, I'll get back to him later because I have all the dates and the classes separately. So the book also has, an annexure at the end, which is a quick glance of all the loco details. So, quickly you can see year built, the class, the country it was built in. So it's a very handy reference at the end, which is like an Excel sheet.
Well, so many of those books have already been ordered. I've been keeping a tab on that, and I suspect probably everyone who's currently on this talk has already placed an order for the book. But if you still have not, I have just posted in the chat the link for the pre-order. The problem, of course, remains with those of us who are overseas. Well, Paul Whittle has been kind enough to step in and say that if you have individual orders, he will probably help us to figure out a way by which he could be the aggregator for those orders and we could bulk ship the books to Paul Whittle. So wonderful offer, Paul, and thank you so much for that. That should take care of UK. In case you have bulk orders, which we're defining as anything which is 5 or more, please feel free to write to us at the email address of the society, railenthusiast2015@gmail.com. That's something I've not really posted over here, but what I will do is I will post the website address over here in the chat, and you will find the details over there. So that's the website address that I've just posted in there. And please feel free to get that email ID that I'm talking about, railenthusiast2015@gmail.com. You will find this easily on the membership form. And the membership form is the easiest place on the website to find this email ID. Subrata Chattopadhyay has a question for us. He says, NRM has a steam loco A488 Hasang at NRM. It was donated by Coal India. The Margarita also has another Hasang with the same name and wheel arrangement. Does anyone have any idea which one is the real one?
That's a tough one. So because, that's the same case with a ZP2 loco also. There is a ZP2 loco which is at the Pulgaon siding, which hauled the last narrow gauge steam in India. And then there is a ZP2 outside the Jodhpur railway station also. So the same thing is with Hasang. I mean, it's very difficult to figure out, which is the original and what is the name of the other one. So that's a problem.
Vikas, lots of wonderful comments in praise of this entire massive effort that you have put in.
No, I'll just quickly answer one question which YB Sharma sir has raised. Yes, sir, there is a chance, this number will not go down because as...
okay, Vikas, could you read out the question first and then answer it, please?
Yeah, I'll just...
So he says, is this number 303 likely to go down or go up in the near future?
Yeah, so this number will not go down because as, Ashwani Lohani said that, now that this locos survive and, there is this rule from the railway board that, you can't export or scrap them off now. So these locos will survive, but the numbers will definitely go up again, sir, because there are definitely, 10 or 15 more locos which are there, but the details are sketchy. So there are around 5 or 6 with the Indian Army, which is very difficult, to get the details, which they use to train their own people. And then there are 3 or 4 with cement companies. The details are still sketchy. So this number can go up by another 15 or 16, but will definitely not go down because now that, they have been documented, it's very difficult to scrap them off.
Thank you, YB Sharma sir. And interestingly, there's a very remarkable comment here from Atulya Sinha, and it's a compliment to you and your work, Vikas. It says, this has been a great presentation. Looking forward to the book. I'm at Delhi airport and may have to leave very soon. Please excuse my early departure. A true rail enthusiast, Atulya Sinha sir. I mean, I'm not sure if you're still on the talk or not, but you've truly joined in as only a true rail enthusiast can.
Nobody is a rail enthusiast traveling by plane.
That I think we'll blame on the pandemic, sir, or maybe the larger distance that he may need to be traveling.
Like what Raghunandan sir has asked, see, sir, there are 3 coal-fired locos on Nilgiri Mountain Railway.
Once again, the question first and then the answer, please.
Yeah, so the question was, I think many of the X-class locos are oil-fired now with those unsightly saddle tanks on the boiler. Yes, sir, there are only 3 coal-fired locos on NMR now, 2 from ex-Winterler Swiss Locomotive Works, and 1 which was built at Trichy last year. So there are 3 coal-fired locos and rest are all oil-fired locos on NMR now.
Well, Vikas, I think this has been a truly remarkable talk. Thank you very, very much for sharing with us extremely extensive research. If ever there were, if there were a PhD to be handed out for studies in rail enthusiasm, I think you've more than earned your PhD on this one. So hats off to you and thank you so much for agreeing to let RES convert your hobby and your knowledge into that first RES publication book. I say first because we hope to be publishing at least 2 to 3 such books every year and bring to rail enthusiasts what they've always wanted, but may not have always existed. Thank you, Vikas. A remarkable talk, and want to use this platform to just share another piece of good information, useful information for all of us. The global conference that we had conducted on the 6th and 7th of March was extremely well received. However, because it was global, there were people who ended up missing a few talks because of timing or other issues. And there were repeated requests on whether we could put up recorded versions of the talk. Well, thanks to Apurv Bahadur, another fantastic rail enthusiast, that has now been possible. Apurv has near single-handedly created our YouTube channel. So yes, we've taken our next step now. We now have a YouTube channel. And the best part about it, and only late last night, in fact, the message from Apurva is early today morning. It's an odd hours and 6 minutes message. There is this wonderful message from Apurva. Apurva, I hope that you're there, and can I request you to please join in on this conversation?
Yeah.
So Apurva has actually created for us the YouTube channel. The website link, this link to the YouTube channel is again on the website, which is already posted here. So next to our Facebook page logo, you'll now see a YouTube page logo. But Apurva, would you just please share with us this extremely wonderful thing that you have created that will allow everyone to be able to either revisit or see for the first time a talk that they have missed, or revisit a talk that they really enjoyed as often as they would like. And going ahead, each of the monthly RES talks that are recorded will also be on the channel. So Apurva, I hand over to you, and thank you very much from all the rail enthusiasts globally for creating that fantastic YouTube channel that you have just done. Apurva.
Thank you so much, Mayank. Actually, as we were going towards this effort, I could see that Mayank was struggling with the website. He was struggling with the artworks. He was struggling with how to do this, how to do that. And then professionally, that is what I do. I'm a technical writer. I write technical documentation. I can move into writing books. I can move into, the actual task of creating the manuscript for the book. If somebody else writes, I write technical manuals for a living. And I thought that this is, I could at least help Mayank with something. Editing videos is something which I had not done before, but I think now we are good to go. Very soon, maybe in 15 days, I could even offer you making of our own website. So, the place where he has to go and, cajole somebody, please do this for me, he can now ask the birthright. I need this done. So it will be done. So starting from highly technical documentation to websites, e-learning stuff, all that can be done on a professional basis. That's my job. So I've not done anything out of the thing. The really good part is, during this, on the second day, we had a heckler who kept saying bad things in the middle of JL sir's speech. So I could go into the timeline of the speech and cut out that guy's talk. So I hope I've got rid of all that nonsense that person was saying. But just go through it. If you find that guy's talk is still there, some things, tell me the episode number and the second, and I'll get rid of that too. Not a problem. So it's been a great learning experience. I had a great time doing that. There is some process which is still pending, like updating the thumbnails to the speakers. This thing which Mayank told me today morning. And any other discrepancy that you find, please get back to me, and I'll see that it is corrected. Thank you so much.
Apurva, thank you so much for putting that together in record time and more. I mean, it's amazing that despite being extremely busy professionally, you actually took time out to go through all the talks all over again. And we are talking about around 16 hours of recorded conversation.
No, there was no break. There was no break. It was like one ends in the next second. My problem was finding the bloody slot between the two and then, break it there. And that's been very difficult.
You've done a grand service to rail enthusiasts.
Thank you so much. Most welcome.
Even today, I have at least 3 messages from people asking me that 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 GMT is a little early for them, or is a little awkward for them, depending on the part of the world that they are in. And though they would really like to be part of Vikas's talk, can they hope to see a recorded version?
100%. 100%. Every talk that you have, let's put it there. Let's put tags in it so it is easily searchable, and make everything. I mean, all those things are available on the internet, so let's use them.
So, like Apurva told you, though it is a work in progress, the core content is already there.
Yeah.
The way to access it is very simple. Please go to our website. I have posted the link to the website over here, railenthusiastindia.org. It is there in the chat, so please take a look at it. The link to the website is there, and on the top right hand side is where you will find the links to our YouTube channel and to our Facebook page. So yes, we are very happy to report that as a young society, we continue to grow, and we will continue to reach out to you in every means possible, try to cover every form of rail enthusiasm possible so that we can have the maximum fun.
Mayank, one more skill which I want to talk about is restoration of old photographs, and making bad photographs look good. That's part of the thing, which I have to do because I don't have a very good camera. So to make it work, post-processing skills are there in-house. So anything that you need, making that work, we'll be able to do. Because you could use some of them for your.
Yeah, because a lot of those was with the old KB10
Yeah,
cameras.
just send me the high resolution scans. I'll work on them. Not a problem. Okay? Chalo, great. Yeah.
Stunning what is possible when like-minded people get together on a single platform. Apurva, thank you very, very much.
Most welcome.
Of course, most of you know Apurva from his Facebook page, which has over 4,000 outstanding photographs of trains in the Bhor Ghats. Absolutely amazing. Vikas, thank you very, very much for making this talk happen, for making that book happen, so that everyone can always keep on their bookshelves a part of this talk. Of course, very few would be able to match you in the level of knowledge that you have, but we are very happy that you've actually put it together in a formal book that at least we have on our bookshelves that we can reach out to. May I now request Mr. JL Singh and then Mr. Vinu Mathur to step in and before we close the day's proceedings. So Mr. JL Singh, if there are any thoughts on how we are going ahead with the society, and considering the fact that for the longest time, you and Vinu Mathur sir were the duo that was making everything happen, and all of us were actually not doing too much. I think if it's convenient, could we just hear from you for a minute or two, please, sir?
Yeah, I think, but before that, I think Joydev has a point to say.
He's already asked that question.
I also have a point to ask. After hearing this session, I feel like taking my car and going and rail fanning at Mandor station. Yeah. So if there is a call from me, it means the station master has caught me. So the station is empty and a lot of freights pass. So I think I am enthused to go and do that. I think rail fanning is at least safe in pandemic rather than getting on the train.
More strength to you, Joydeep. Go have fun.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do.
Fantastic.
Anyway, thank you, Mayank. I'm very happy to say that in the last 5 years that the Rail Enthusiast Society has existed, we have been able to add at least one new activity every 6 months or so. Of course, in the last 1 year, we've added at least 2 or 3 new activities. And I hope we will continue to do that as long as we exist. And I hope we exist forever.
Thank you. Sure, we'll do that.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Vinu Mathur, sir, may I please invite you to say a few words to all of us?
I'd like to thank Vikas for a wonderful talk this morning. It's been very interesting, and few new facts have come out for some of us who have spent all our lives on the railways. So my compliments to him. I do hope all those who have booked the books will start getting them very soon. I am glad that we have been able to continue this tradition of a monthly talk, and I look forward to the next talk in the month of April. I'd like to thank all the participants who have joined us. We normally get 30-35 participants, and we have had so many today. So thank you all from all parts of the world for being with us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And just to remind everyone, our monthly talk is on the 3rd Sunday of every month. It is at 1100 hours IST of 0530 hours GMT. So we'll see you in April now for the monthly talk, and maybe earlier with something else that we may come up with. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.